Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We're continuing in the Bas Ayin. We're in Parshat Shmos, the first piece of the Bas Ayin, which begins Ve'ele Shmos B'nai Yisrael. There's a few pieces that begin with the same title. We're going to learn the first one. And before we begin, we want to thank our sponsor, the Var Torah Foundation, for making this share available and for putting it together, with the bracha that they will continue being Marbe Mafritz, the Shiurim Beravim. Ve'ele Shmos B'nai Yisrael, the Bas Ayin, as we explained, always works, even though he brings down a lot of Kabbalistic ideas and a lot of deep thoughts of Hasidus, he ultimately wants to use that b'derech avoda. How do we practically use these concepts? How do we practically look at the psukim in order to become better avdei Hashem? And over here we're going to learn a very interesting piece, how the Bas Ayin takes a Kabbalistic an idea in Hasidus and brings it to us to be able to use it to become better servants of Hashem. Hine l'choira vav hanoisefes. The word vav, the ve'ela, seems to be extra. Hu meyuter, because ve'ela means this and these, which means the second these is tied to the first one, right? You go into the fruit store and you tell the vendor, okay, I want this and this, right? So it means this and this are together. But if you walk into the fruit store and say, okay, I just want these, so that's the only thing you want. So all the Midrashim talk about it and say, what is this connection between the Shemot B'nai Yisrael and what's said before? Also, we're now beginning a new sefer, says the Bas Ayin. So it doesn't make sense to continue it to Parsha Shmos. It should be Ve'ela. It should be Eila, not Ve'ela. Now, even though, by the way, the psukim and the prokim, something that came later on, dispute if it was a non-Jewish thing or a Jewish thing, there definitely were always different chumashim. There was always a chumash bereshis, and then there was a shemais, and there were always parshias by name, right? It was a suffix if you look in the Sefer Torah, there's no prokim and psukim, right? We don't know what's Perek of Aleph and Pasuk Dalid or what's Perek of Dalid. Today we know because we go back and forth. Everything was done based on stumos and parshios, the pei and the samach. When we close a segment, when we open a segment, there's always, how do we know when there's a different parsha coming up? But for sure, when there's a new chumash, there's always a space. So therefore, the word ve'ela doesn't seem to be proper. Ve'ela seems to say Shemos is really tied to Vayichi. So if you do Ma'amaram, there's a famous Zohar, it says ve'ela is gematria membez. The word ve'ela, vav is 6, aleph is 1, so that's 7. Lamed is 30, so that's 37. Plus hey is 42. And the word membez is laramesh Hashem membez yardim Yaakov Mitzrayim. To teach us this name went down with Yaakov to Mitzrayim. V'hine be'emes. Now the Bas Ayin says a beautiful line that really I feel tremendous chizik from this line. For some reason I enjoy this line tremendously. V'hine be'emes l'gdoilei Yisrael sheyadim rozim di'orai. So the great tzaddikim that know the secrets of the Torah. Bevadai zehu Torah gedol lahem berazim di'orai. So for sure for them this is great secrets and this is a great chiddush. The Torah is a guide for everybody according to their level. How to serve Hashem. Based on that, says the Bas Ayin, yes, I could tell you Kabbalistic ideas, I could tell you Hasidus, and I could tell you you're a Muslim, and it's great. But for us, Avdei Hashem, how do we use that Lamaisa? How do we practically, what do we do with that? What do we do with the fact that the Torah tells us that the name of Hashem that's called Membez went with Yaakov to Mitzrayim? How does that help us? How does that guide us to be a better Yid? To understand this and to understand the obligation to remember Yitzias Mitzrayim every day, one of the things that we do every day since we left Mitzrayim is to remember Yitzias Mitzrayim. Shabbos, Yom Tov, Shema, there's no such thing. So when anybody tells you that there's no such thing as Yitzias Mitzrayim, it doesn't make sense. We've been saying Zeicha Yitzias Mitzrayim not for 100 years, not for 500 years, since the day we left Mitzrayim. The main milchama that we have is to fight with the Yetzer Hara. shenikra paroi, that's also called paroi. Oiref, stubborn, hard, umasioi letavas gashmis, and tries to carry us to the heavenly oilam hazeh, to the gashmis of this world. V'zeu inyan Galus Mitzrayim. That really is the secret and the concept of Galus Mitzrayim. U'melchama gedoyli hizu. There's a great melchama v'tzorach ha'ish ha'Yisraeli lemelchama zu shloshet dvarim. To fight this war, we need three things. To be successful, we need three things. Reishis, hi bechinas Torah. Number one, we need the Torah. We need to know what to do and what we're not allowed to do. Hainu likbay itim l'Torah, to set times every day to learn Talmud. Every day you have to learn at a specific time for a specific amount, besides other things. But every yid has to have kaviyas itim Torah. If it's 5 minutes a day, it has to be the same 5 minutes every day at the same time. Beis ubechinas anava. You have to be an onav. Sheyede ba'atzmei goydel sheflusa. Yes, I learn, I this, but really, I'm bothered by all these things. Look at me, I'm a nobody. Now how he's deep entrenched in Gashmis. Havli olam hazeh, I'm busy with this, I'm busy with that. What does this have to do with anything? Does it make a difference this? Does it make a difference that? Ultimately, I'm involved in politics. Can I really make a difference? Yeah, no, I run for this thing. Whatever it is, each person, according to their inyan, if a person really understands how low he is, again, not to be depressed. There's a big difference between understanding that I have a lot of work to do and to be depressed. We're not allowed to be depressed. But at the same time, we can't be about gaiva. Internally, he should be broken, that he's a nobody, that he hasn't reached anything, and he's busy with gashmias, and automatically the Yetzer Hara will be lowered. A person who's depressed can do a lot of averos. Chas v'shalom. He can give up hope. He can be miyash. Okay, I'll do an avera. Who cares? What's the difference? I'm finished. I'm over. That's not what we're allowed to do. But to say, I really am a nobody, yeah, I did this mitzvah, I did that mitzvah, I learned this, I had a good cash on Toises, I answered Toises. Yeah, but you also are about, I'm a nobody because I'm mushka in Taivas. And the third thing is, Shiyivakish Rachamim Balaracham Shirachim. Ultimately, we have to ask Rachmanas from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because Api Derech HaTeva, we cannot overcome the Yetzer Hara. We're 95 years old, the Yetzer Hara is fighting us like we're 20. We're 20 years old, the Yetzer Hara is running around circles from us like he's a 40-year-old experienced individual. The Yetzer Hara is non-stop. The Yetzer Hara is spiritual. He can trick us, he can see 4 steps ahead of us, 10 steps behind us. It's almost impossible to fight and defeat the Yetzer Hara. Therefore, we have to ask Rachamim. A person says, I have a tremendous Yetzer Hara. Okay, understood. Did you daven to Hashem? You have to have koyach to overcome the Yetzer Hara. Bechinas paroi. Hashem yashpiloi v'yizgaber v'yetzem agos. Hashem, by you asking, Hashem will be mashbil, and you will be able to overcome the Yetzer Hara, which is your galus. As Yerachim alav Hashem v'yebe'ezra v'yetziyah ma'agos Mitzrayim u'bechinas elu tzarich lasses ben b'chol yom v'yom. These 3 things you have to do every day. Every day you have to learn Torah. Every day you have to understand that you're still connected to Gashmis. Every day you have to daven to Hashem to overcome whatever taivas you have. Which these 3 steps, these 3 tools, these 3 strategies that a person has is hinted, number 1, in the word Yaakov. Shemaram is lebchinas Torah. We know Yaakov is always connected to the word, to the concept of Torah. V'shem mem beis, meram is lebchinas siyata d'shmaya, u'bechinas anava. All these 3 things are oil in the gematria of paroi. Yaakov, Membez, and Anova is paroi. The Ram is Shemispa Shel Shloisha Bechinas. Together, these 3 things, Yaakov, the name Membez that gives you siyata d'shmaya to overcome the Yetzer Hara, and Anova, is what's needed to fight paroi. Right? The spiritual gematria, right? Every letter is a spiritual koyach. So when you combine the 3 letters, the 3 words, the koichas of every word counteracts the koichas of paroi. There's a special koich in pei, there's a special koich in reish, there's a special koich in aleph, and there's a special koich in hey. When it forms the word paroi, it's a bad koich. When we take the word Yaakov, Membez, and Anova, that koyach, that good koyach, counteracts the klip of paroi. Meramish mispa shel shloisha bechinas ana oimed neged mispa paroi. Anything in klipa yesh negda mispar b'kedusha hamachnia klipa. Whatever there is in klipa, there's a counteract of kedusha that can lower it. We don't always aware of it. That's why the best thing to do is learn Torah. So the Bas Ayin teaches us that what Hashem is teaching us is in order to overcome the daily attacks of the Yetzer Hara, we need three things. We need to always learn. Number two, we always need to understand that to be anivus, to understand that as much as we did, we still have a lot more to do, and we still have to understand that we're still connected to this world. Again, not to be depressed. And number three, to daven. That is what the pasuk ve'ele shmos b'nei Yisrael. Why is it coming to teach us this? Because where did Klal Yisrael go? To the heart of Galus, to the heart of Mitzrayim, to the heart of the Yetzer Hara. The only way we could overcome that is together. We had the Torah. Yaakov sent Yehuda to build the Torah, to build the yeshivas. We had Anava, right? And we now had the Shem and Beis that we needed to give us the Siyat Shmaya to overcome the Yetzer Hara. That is what the pasuk is teaching us, says the Bas Ayin, Api derech avoda, in order for us to be able to fight and to be successful against the Yetzer Hara. And we ask, as we mentioned a few times, the Bas Ayin had no children, so we should understand that when we learn the Torah of the Bas Ayin, he's actually coming alive again, and not just alive, his Torah is becoming again in this world, which is a schus for him, and this allows him to be Maila and Maila. So besides the fact that we're learning Torah, we're doing a tremendous chesed, we have the ability to help a tzaddik. Normally you don't have the ability in such a way to help a tzaddik, but we're doing mamash a tremendous chesed for him and for us, and he should be a Me'el Yosef for us, that all our tefillos now be kosher should be mekoyim.